London and Mumbai, endless opportunities. A panel discussion graced by the Mayor and Deputy Mayor of London highlighted the infinite potentials between the two cities. The event was brought together by Loda Group and Times Now.
It is indeed my pleasure to welcome all of you for this special gathering. The Loda Group and Times Now have come together to host a conclave of business professionals, entrepreneurs, and artists who have business or cultural ties with the United Kingdom to discuss the growing collaboration and business establishment opportunities that can be explored between London and Mumbai, both commercial powerhouses of their respective regions, two cities that have universal appeal. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great privilege to invite on stage the Honourable Mayor of London, Mr. Sadiq Khan.
तो हेलो फ्रेंड्स, मेरा नाम सादिक खान है और मैं लंदन का मेयर हूँ। मगर बहुत खुशी है मैं कि आपके साथ मुंबई में हूँ। और हाँ, ये मैसेज बहुत ज़रूरी है। लंदन सबके लिए खुला है। London is the political, cultural and financial capital of the UK and also of Europe. And our biggest strength is Londoners. 40% of Londoners are born outside of London. मेरे शहर में 600,000 Londoners, 600,000 उनकी origin इंडिया से है, उनके ताल्लुकात इंडिया से है, उनकी रिश्तेदारी इंडिया के साथ है. And that's one of the reasons why you should be so confident investing in London. और जो partnership India और London के साथ है for 70 years, business, trade, tech, education, and most importantly, Bollywood. मगर मुझे मालूम है, some of the policies that my government has done, I'm against. I think some of the changes they've made with the visas are counterproductive. On the one hand, we're saying, please come to London to do trade, to do business. On the other hand, we're making it harder for students to work after their studies. We're making it harder for entrepreneurs to come and invest in London. So we are lobbying the British government to change the rules around visas, to change the rules around entrepreneurial and investors. And I say this with humility, bearing in mind I'm in Mumbai, to come to the greatest city in the world to invest and to make friendships and to do your business. Magar, please remember, if nothing else, the three words to leave with. London is open. Thank you very much.
We also have Mr. Rajesh Agrawal in town, the Deputy Mayor of London for Business.
London is a city which is open, and it is a city of opportunities and dreams. In our city, entrepreneurs have access to everything they need to set and grow a business. London, the UK and India share a common vision for the future based on innovation, entrepreneurship and prosperous knowledge-based economies. These can only be maximized through genuine collaboration. As Deputy Mayor, I want to support, facilitate and grow these bonds that draws us closely together, because I firmly believe that our city and India has got so much to gain from increased cooperation and partnership moving forward. London warmly welcomes businesses, visitors, students and investors from India. London and Mumbai have a rich history together, and the opportunities for us in the future will be endless. Thank you very much.
Explore more ideas on how London and Mumbai can collaborate to build stronger ties. We have a panel discussion, the topic for which is endless opportunities between London and Mumbai. This esteemed panel right here represents all the sectors that can mark the change in the bilateral relations between the two cities and the two countries. That a lot of good opportunities can be created through financing some great ideas. And really that's where we can see long-term gains come by. And hence, Vishal, I'll start off with you. Being the head of a financial institution and an investment banker, how do you foresee building a conducive and business-friendly financial system between the two cities?
The UK has been one of the largest investors in India for a very, very long time. And UK understands India extremely well. From that perspective, of course, Brexit is some sort of a mini threat which is viewed right now in terms of what happens in the long-term relationship between UK and Europe, and how does that impact Indian investment in UK, because people see London as the hub for Europe. I feel London will continue being the gateway to Europe. I don't think things change. I think it has the best talent. It has a large amount of capital. Not only UK funds, but a lot of American, European funds are all today based in London. So the point really is about making sure that UK encourages Indian investment, right, in all sorts of sectors, all sorts of companies, not just large mature companies, but even smaller companies, faster growing companies across the board. And same with India. I think India already has a thriving sector in terms of new companies to invest in, startup companies to invest in. So far, we haven't seen a large flow from the UK in these companies, but incrementally, I think that should also change.
No, and I think that's an important point, because for large companies, getting finance is not so hard. It's really the small ideas, those small dreams that need to be turned into realities. And that's where the challenge lies. Chandni, you've mentored over 90 plus investments under Mumbai Angels. What can you share with us about monetizing those small ideas?
The biggest hurdle that we see is, of course, capital meeting the startup idea at the time that they need it, right? So the democratization of capital has been the biggest challenge going forward, and that's what Mumbai Angels Network has tried to do, taking the capital where the startup is, right? Stepping forward, I think where they lack in the Indian ecosystem is that they have ideas, we are innovating, but we really don't know how to scale. So we hit a roadblock after the first capital is in, and then we really don't know what to do. I think that's the area where the collaboration between London and UK and Mumbai could come together, because London and UK, the companies there know how to scale. They have that know-how. So I think the first area of collaboration between us could be really, right now as we talk, in the fintech innovation space. And the alignment culturally between Mumbai and London is the best thing that can sort of fuel this. Now is the time to focus on women founders and entrepreneurs who are now sort of innovating in this space, because again, the whole startup ecosystem is also getting democratic now. So the ideas come to anybody today and they can take it to fruition. So technology and women, that combination is a killer combination.
It is.
And that's where I think we need to collaborate. So those are the two areas I think that the collaboration can take place.
We'll talk more about that. But Alan, we can't complete any discussion without talking about the social angle, the social fabric between the two cities and how one can strengthen that. Having extensive experience in the field of medical research and social development, share with us some ideas on how Mumbaikars and Londoners can work more towards making a difference there.
Sure. My organization today is clear that its job is to partner India's economic growth and its knowledge ambitions. Over the next 5 years, we'll see our work in education and culture improving the lives of 100 million young people through education transformation programs that we run with state governments, training teachers across the country. So we are absolutely thinking about how India's growth is driven by its human capital, and then what the UK and London can do to support that overall growth story. We're working closely with the government here to develop statewide education programs. But I also see culture and tech as significant opportunities for us to grow the relationship. How we make our best cultural institutes connect has been at the core of our Year of Culture. We have focused a lot on digital, so we've increasingly moved our cultural work online to create unique and inspirational experiences that democratize the worlds of culture to people in India and the UK, to connect with hundreds of thousands of people. So right now, 1.5 million people in 200 countries are accessing those apps. So
Mix the city, right?
Mix the city, yeah. So I'm hoping that we will continue to see that shift into digital culture.
Absolutely. This year is the year of culture between the two countries. Mortimer, you've done a lot of work with emerging artists, with mid-career artists. You've done a lot of work with historical material. Yeah. How can we further the cause of providing access to the less privileged?
In terms of specifically looking at the role of younger artists from more disadvantaged segments of society, the same actually applies in India as it does in the UK. These are issues which are not specific to India, and often it's a question, of course, of access to education. The Year of Culture has been extremely important in precisely that, exposing younger Indians to art and culture in its broadest remit. I'd look to an exhibition like India in the World, which has just opened in our city in Mumbai, at the former Prince of Wales Museum. Extraordinary collaboration between the British Museum and a number of local institutions in India, which has seen some of the greatest examples of all of these museums coming together.
No, and I know that a lot needs to be done in this regard. But Rushad, let's have your opening remarks first. Again, in the field of architecture and design, how do you see both these cities coming together and collaborating?
Lately, we have been seeing quite a few collaborations between even UK firms and India. To touch upon what Chandni was saying in terms of the think tank or the idea of collaboration, there's also the collaboration with the art and film directors, where they also add into the design process. So there is that sense of collaboration between even the initial thought process between the two countries, and also to see the cultural effects of how they influence design. We do see a lot of UK firms now entering India. In that sense, a lot of architecture in India still to date is much more privately funded. And I think the biggest difference between the two countries in that sense is great architecture is quite often public projects. There are competitions or museums or even larger infrastructural projects which become quite design sensitive. And I think that's slowly opening up. The restoration of buildings, the new appreciation.
You've established yourself quite well. But how easy is it for a designer to really access international markets, especially designer based out of Mumbai or any other local place in India?
I think firstly there's also, India itself is a big enough market. The appreciation for design is growing. It's a very nascent industry. And in that sense, I think even to work in India or in Mumbai is great. It's like the right time to be here. But that said, the markets are opening up. The projects, designs also becoming much more universal. Of course, with technology, that's where collaborations also happen. But the act of making becomes quite inherently local. I'm not too sure yet how, for architecture in that sense, one could make a break internationally, because they are still very much patron-based. So in that, maybe the competitions is one easy way, or at least an avenue for people to enter into the market, and that's globally how it's usually done.
Could digitization help there? Alan, what you've done with Mix the City, that's a great model for music. Can it be extended out to art and culture and design?
I think it will have to.
Is there scope?
We published a report earlier this year about the design sector across India, which says there's some gap of a number like 50,000 design teachers that will be required for India to meet the future demands of its design, of what design can contribute to its economy. So that won't just be delivered in a traditional teaching platform. There will have to be a digital dimension there, and then there's a public policy challenge about how to do that. So there's a lot where design can contribute to an economic return and also a better quality of life.
Let's have all of you, in about a minute each, give us and the Deputy Mayor and the audience out here your wish list. Rushad, I'll start off with you.
It would, more than architects, it would be much more to show the bureaucrats how, I would say, the appreciation of design or conservation could work within a historical context, and infusing contemporary architecture within the city and infrastructure as well.
Okay, great. Mortimer?
The Mayor's recently announced London Boroughs of Culture, where there's going to be a competition, 22 boroughs, who will be London's Borough of Culture. Let's start twinning London boroughs with districts and wards in Mumbai. Let's start thinking about art and culture at a hyper-local level rather than necessarily at a national level, and let's get local communities involved between the two cities.
Right. Alan?
So the British Council is 70 in India next year. We're looking for ambitious ways to tell the story of our 70 years to date and what the next 70 look like, and imagining what some of that future demand will be. It is interesting that the V&A have a new campus that's opening in Shenzhen in China. I'm hearing that there are plans to have 50 cultural centers across China. to create a future demand for the cultural and creative industries. What might that look like for India, and how can London play a part of that?
At my end, I think financial inclusion is a big topic and an important one for India going forward. We have to integrate our rural markets with our urban markets. And how can we have a conference in India which is focused by getting fintech companies from the UK? UK and London have been a leader in fintech all over the world. Can we have a conference in India which is hosted by the City of London, bring many of these fintech companies to come here and tell us how they can help our own goals of making financial inclusion a reality as soon as possible?
I would say the same thing actually, what just Vishal said, that can we co-create, I've said that before, can we co-create businesses together and not just look at reciprocal arrangement where the startups, you invite startups to come and set up their base in London. Can that thinking be kind of reoriented in sense of incubating startups together and looking at a global market and not just India as a market for goods and supplies?
I think mentorship programs are very important. So that'd be great if something can be done in that regard. Thank you very much, all of you, for that engaging discussion. And now, to introduce our keynote speakers for the day. Our first keynote speaker for the session is Mr. Rajesh Kumar, who has very recently been appointed chairman of India's largest state-run bank, SBI. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in inviting on stage Mr. Kumar to deliver the first keynote address. Mr. Kumar.
When the topic or the theme is endless opportunities, the opportunities are definitely endless. First thing which India needs is the capital, foreign capital in particular, and London can contribute immensely in mobilizing the capital. If the UK SME businesses want to come in India or vice versa, a lot of services and products can be structured in such a manner that both can help each other. It is necessary that India and the UK should remain committed to working together in future in the area of particularly investment, trade and infrastructure financing. And though much progress is done, there is a considerable potential for expanding the relationship further. Thank you very much.
Our second keynote speaker for the day is Sanjeev Mehta, who's the CEO and Managing Director of Hindustan Unilever Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Mehta.
Absolute privilege to be here with all of you today. On any given day in this vibrant city of dreams, each one of us comes across a little bit of London, be it the Gateway of India, the railway lines, the numerous pieces of British architecture preparing South Mumbai. Similarly, when we visit London, we can never miss the South Asian faces, the Mayor of London, the Deputy Mayor of London. While both India and the UK have undergone significant changes since India's independence, their connections have remained strong and enduring. Deputy Mayor was absolutely right in saying that UK is the largest G20 investor in India, but also India is the second biggest foreign investor in the UK. In fact, Indian firms in the UK employ more than 100,000 people. As for London, in the last 12 years, the investment by Indian companies has gone up by more than 125%. London is still the leading global destination for Indian businesses looking westwards. Indian companies are the third largest investors in London, employing more than 50,000 people. If an entrepreneur from India is looking for success in the British market, they need to ask themselves the question, how do I make a positive difference to the society in the UK? Ladies and gentlemen, in Mumbai and London, we have two great cities that will continue to reimagine and redefine the world. I would like to conclude by urging all you entrepreneurs to think big and think differently. Good day and God bless.
The last speaker for the day is Mr. Crispin Simon. He's the British Deputy High Commissioner for Western India and the Director General of the Department for International Trade, India and South Asia.
I'm the representative of the British government, which is slightly different from the Mayor's office and also slightly different from the British Council. But we all work together in harmony. My background, actually, is that I have spent 90% of my career in business. I'm only recently appointed into government service. I would urge people in this room who are considering their next capital raising, the execution of their strategies, to consider the dimension of London and the London Stock Exchange. And it's not just the public markets that are strong and deep in London. We have angel money, venture capital money, development capital, and also grant money from the government. There are three reasons why we believe that the UK and London are so appealing to Indian and Mumbai companies. Firstly, the living bridge, a concept that you've heard earlier today. The second is the government support, but also prosperity and security, and this conference is all about prosperity, but security is also an important factor. Security is critical for both our countries, and there is a long collaboration between the two of us. And just last month, a £20 million training program was launched specifically in the field of cybersecurity. The tech economy in Britain is vast, $45 billion plus. In addition, we have the industrial strategy published just last week, where there's a major investment stepped up in technology, artificial intelligence, life sciences. And the concept of the tech rocket ship is just coming into fruition, where British and Indian business people identify very promising Indian companies and specifically go to joint India and British angel companies for investment with the express purpose of using London as the opportunity and the location of their internationalization plans. We believe that British companies in partnership with Indian companies have a massive role to play. Thank you.
May I invite now Mr. Abhishek Loda, Managing Director, Lodha Group, to deliver the vote of thanks.
To take this discussion forward, I think Mumbai and London are really, twins who've been separated over time, but they share such an amazing context and ties, cultural, people, business, and so much more. And I think this visit of the mayor, and we have such influential Indians here like Mr. Rajesh Kumar, Mr. Mehta, and others, should be an opportunity to ensure that London and Mumbai embark on a special relationship, a special partnership, Mayor, where while the cities will grow in different directions at different times, there is a cultural bond, a bond of the heart, which can be leveraged to make sure that business and opportunities grow much stronger. And I call upon you and the other dignitaries here to make that a reality in the next few months. Thank you.
Brought to you by Lodha Group in association with Times Now.